Welcome back to Red Hawk Media. Today we're taking a look at color correction, and we're going to start off with this clip here. The first thing that we want to do is go ahead and pick out a clip. Any clip or any of the other shots that are related to this location we're going to affect similarly. So we're going to start with this one. To begin with, you can add as many color corrections as possible. If you haven't, make sure that you get a nice big picture here so you can see exactly what's going on. I've got this at 75%. You can change the percentage up here to fill the area. And that's what we've got. Now, if you're not seeing any color correction options yet, go ahead and place your cursor where you want to start color correcting. So I've got my location. Now over on the right hand side here, I've got all of my sliders here in the inspector. Make sure you're on the video tab, and then under the video tab you can see that you've got color, transform, and all the other rest of the stuff. We're just interested in the color today. So we're going to look at correction number 1, which is automatically created for you. And we're going to go ahead and start making some changes. So I'm going to go to show correction. Once I'm in here, it automatically comes up on the color tab. I've got saturation and exposure tab. To begin with, a lot of your color problems can be fixed right in the exposure part because not every clip or shot is exposed exactly the way you would like. So, to walk you through this, we've got our shadows, we've got our midtones, and then we've got our highlights. I usually like to start with the highlights and adjust those accordingly to whatever I'm looking for in the shot. This shot happens to be a little dark and some of the colors are kind of crushed down here. So I'm going to bring up these just a little bit. Now, the thing with the color change or color correction is minute changes will do a lot for you. I mean, they will do a lot. So you got to be careful not to over color correct. If I bring the exposure way up, you can see it can completely wash this out here. Okay, this is the universal exposure, by the way. So I go ahead and get a look that I like. Maybe I want a little bit more darks in here. It depends on what look you're going for, of course. And we're going to leave that right about in there. Okay, so now we're starting to get the look that we want. Now, for color here, we can go over to saturation. And saturation is really the intensity of the different colors. So if I want to bring up the intensity of the darks here, okay, or of the shadows, I can bring that down, or I can wash it out like that. Maybe I'm going for like an older kind of horror film kind of look here, or maybe I'm looking for something that's a little bit more bright and vibrant and got kind of a warm feel to it. Whatever it is, I'm going to go ahead and adjust these to my liking. And again, it's all just preferential here. You can see the grass really come in with this one in the background there. Okay, and we'll go ahead and tweak that. Tweak this one down a little bit, right about in there. So just a little bit. Now, here's where you can create a mood with your color corrections. So let's say that this is kind of a dreary day. He's got his hands in his pockets here. She's got a jacket on. It might be a little bit colder. Knowing that this is a clip from a horror film as well, we might want to grab our global coloring here and drag it more over towards the blues. See the differences here? So we're over in the greens, which is kind of a spring kind of feel to it. Or if I go a little bit more green, we can start going matrix with this. So a lot of sci-fi movies focus more on greens, right? If it's a romantic kind of thing, we can bring this over here and we could warm it up with more of a red. Maybe we've got like a throwback, like this is a flashback. A lot of sepia colored things go with the flashbacks of that color. But I'm going to go with just a little bit more blue in here to give it that kind of cool feeling here. All right. Now, that's our first color correction. You can keep adding on color correction after color correction if you want. In fact, you can get really specific with your color corrections. For instance, let's say that I really want, maybe I want this area to be a little bit more exposed, and I want the background area not to be as exposed. So, for instance, let's go ahead and add another color correction. And then we're going to go to a shape mask. Now the shape mask starts off like this. Starts off as a circle, which is great for eyes and faces and things like that. But in this case, my background is going to be more rectangular in nature. And I'm going to drag that over so that I can take some of the brightness out of this background over here. So let's take that down, shrink it to the size that I need, and we go right back in here like this. Now, one of the things that we can do is this outside line here is our actual feathering area. So from this line to this line, it will feather out and get lighter and lighter. Okay, so if I want, I can put this in here, and I don't want that post to be really overly affected here. So I'm going to go ahead and feather this out before it gets to the post. And I'm going to shrink this up a little bit too, because I only want the sky really to be affected here. Let's put that up there. Not too bad here. Maybe a little bit more right in there. Okay, so you get the idea. Now, this is a little overexposed. It's a little too bright. It's kind of taking away from them because the focus isn't on them. So I'm going to actually add my shape mask on here. So now that the shape mask is there, I'm going to go in and I'm going to color correct it. So I'm going to go to Show Corrections. And I got a couple options here. I can affect what's inside my mask, or I can affect what's outside of the mask. So let's say I want to like change everything else, but not that area that I've got masked off right now. I could click the outside area. I'm going to go with the inside area, and we're going to go back over to the exposure, and we're going to bring down the exposure a little bit in that area. Okay, so that the brightness isn't quite so much. And it's just a little adjustment here. And we've got that right there. You can see how it brings it down. Now I got to be careful because look at the distinct lines that it will create. Even though that there's a feather on there, it will be pretty obvious that I masked this off otherwise. So I got to be careful how I do this. And so I just bring that down a bit. Now I can go back. I can do the same exact thing for the other area here. So let's go ahead and create another color mask, and we'll do a shape mask, and we'll drag this over. You can see how tedious this can get, where you can break down every single shot and color mask the whole thing off, and it could take forever. Now I can mask these things off in particular because they don't move. Okay, the only thing moving on the shot is the actors or the talent. So I can go ahead and go about doing this. Okay, and bring that over, and that should work out nicely. And then I go to Show Corrections here, go to the exposure, bring that down a little bit so that it matches up. You can see it's probably want to stretch that out a little bit more. Bring that up like that. There we go. So now we're bringing down the colors just a little bit here, and voila. So now I've masked off that area. You can see exactly what's going on there. Okay, happens to work out in this one because it's kind of rectangular windows that we're looking at. This one is going to be a little bit more tricky because I've got the talent right there. Let's do something else though. The talent right now is kind of in shadows. Actually, let's go with the door here. Let's say that I wanted to emphasize a certain color on here. I could go ahead and create a new color correction, new shape mask. And the door is not moving at all, so we can go ahead and mask that off without having to worry about keying or anything like that. You can mask things that are moving, of course, but it's a crazy more work here. So we'll go ahead and go like this and bring that down so it's taken all of the door. And we want this to just kind of cut off right at the door here. Okay, and now on that particular one, let's just do something simple like bring up the saturation on the door. So I'm going to go to saturation, and I'm just going to saturate inside that area. So now we've got this super intense red door that's looming there, waiting for them to open it here. You get the idea. All right, that's a quick crash course in color correction here. You get the idea. So if we take a look at this whole shot all the way through here, you can see how it's been affected all the way. It's a number of different things. You can get as crazy as you want with the color correction or as simple as you want. But to begin with, just start with some settings that will affect the whole scene. To show you something that would be worth your while also, if you've got shots that are all in one area, let's say, for instance, we're going to click off a few of these, and we're going to say that we don't want these extra corrections on here. But this setting and this setting are basically the same areas here, but we want them to look kind of the same. Okay? One of the things that I can do is, with this clip selected that I just made all my corrections on, I can go Command-C to copy everything that's on that clip. I can go over to the clip next door here, and I can actually go, let's see here, it's Command-Shift-V, and it's going to bring up this window. So it's a little bit more than just your normal pasting setting. Okay, so I can come over and I can say, I want all the color changes here to be applied to this particular clip. And I'm going to go paste. Now, I didn't affect the size or cropping or anything like that, so I go ahead and paste that. Now I go back here, and you can see that my changes have been added on. In fact, if we go back and click in that area, and we've got that clip selected right now, go ahead and take that off. That's what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. So it matches up identically with this one, same sky, same colors, all of that stuff. Okay, once you start to add the mask on, like I'd have to physically mask out this door on this clip to make it a really intense red if I wanted to, and then I'd have to do it separately on here. So there's only so much you can copy and paste over, but it helps speed up the process a little bit. Okay? Well, hopefully that helps you out a little bit with color correction, gets you started. We'll have some more advanced features coming up, looking at the scopes, how not to crush blacks and like oversaturate with white, and we'll be talking about that in the coming episodes. Thank you again for joining us with Red Hawk Media. Bye.